stringent rule of law in Singapore.
Okay, Lim Tian, last week, wow, big news in Singapore about big quarrel in Malaysia, you know, because the development minister of Malaysia said something like, oh, we need to learn from the best in the world on public housing, and that is Singapore's HDB, okay? And Johor in Unity Government MP also said, oh yeah, we must learn from the best, Singapore HDB. And then the Malaysian opposition, it seems, was up in arms, no, and said, no, please don't use public housing to politicize the issue. The former government has been doing a very good job already. Now, Lim Tian, you're an expert on HDB, right? You have anything to say about this that's going on in Malaysia, no?
You know, I will put it this way. Public housing is one of the most important things in a modern society. And for Singapore, I would place it as maybe one of the two top issues. I think the HDB, when it first started, and well, you know, into the 80s, did a very good job. Public housing was affordable, and the policies were all tailored towards them. But what happened in the 90s and after that was where our HDB policy has gone seriously wrong. Especially this idea of having land costs factored into the pricing of flats. And you know, Goh Chok Tong's asset enhancement basically adulterated the entire system. And HDB lost its original mission. Alright? And it is very sad. I no longer say that Singapore has the best public housing policies in the world. No. Alright? I have been reading a lot about other countries. I will tell you, Austria has an awesome public housing policy. Every public housing development in Vienna, you know what they do? They tender out for architectural competition. So much so that today in Vienna, even their public housing has become visitors' attraction. All right? And 50% of every development has to be devoted to green development. You know, here, what have we been experiencing in the last decade? Decaying lease, all right? People getting frightened once their property goes beyond 40 years. And then you have the debacle over the Ang Mo Kio SIRS, all right? Which Zihian can expound for days, yeah? So there is no end to it. And then now you have the audacity of the PAP challenging Leong Man Wai and PSP. Let's have a public debate. I say, bring it on, bring it on. You know, you had their PAP MPs in Parliament fumbling. I saw one MP, I don't even remember his name. He's so insignificant, I don't even remember his name. He was like, you know what he was like? He was like this reindeer caught, yeah, with bright lights in his eyes, yeah. He challenged Leon Pereira. And then when Leon countered and asked him questions, he was totally lost. And then you know what happened? Tan Chuan Jin has to come in and stop the proceedings and say, let's get on. You know, my friends, yeah, the PAP wants to debate the opposition on HDB. I say anytime, bring it on.
Wow, you're right, Ian. I saw this, you know, the public debate. I think one MP said something like, oh, the fact that there are people, you know, queuing up to buy a HDB video flat means it's affordable, okay?
Wait, before we say anything, we need to make sure that people know that there are internet brigade who are trying to compare apple with oranges instead of apple with apple and orange. Apple and orange, okay? There are people internet brigade down there comparing apple and orange instead of apple and apple. So the thing is, in Singapore, public housing are what about 80% of Singaporeans are living in. Compared in other countries, 80% of their population will live in private properties. So do not compare Singapore public housing with overseas public housing, which is actually equivalent to rental flats in Singapore. We need to make sure that first. And in other countries, their private properties are like freehold for the people. Yet in Singapore, we only have 99 years lease. And now we have like 50 years, 30 years lease. It's getting shorter and shorter. And then after that, the government is locking up our CPF, having it MediShield Life, saying that Singaporeans are living longer and longer. So you sell us housing, telling us that we are living shorter and shorter. Then you sell us compulsory national insurance scheme, telling us that we are living longer and longer. So what are you talking about? It's like how many wives you have. Just because you got 2 wives, right, doesn't mean everybody got 2 wives, you know. You need to make up your mind. You're talking to your first wife or second wife. In Singaporeans, people are struggling to get married, which is why HDB are confiscating the money that people have put in for their public housing. All people want is just to have a roof over their head. And yet, just because you live in private properties, and you have a few private properties, and then you get chased out by your wife, you still got a place to sleep in. Do you know that a lot of people, after they quarrel, they got no place to sleep in? And for those people who have no choice, not only they don't have public housing, they go to rental flats. And then after that, they get quarrel with their rental mates. Then they get chased out of the rental flats. They have to stay at the roadside. They have to sleep under MRT tracks. And now you build spikes below the MRT tracks for these people. Is this how a so-called fair and inclusive government is going to be? Do you include this lower income into your policies when you are thinking of it? Or do you only include people who are like multi-millionaire and have 2 wives in your policies, Mickey?
Well, I mean, you seem to have some obsession with this number of wives thing. Never mind. Okay, let's move on. Lim Tian, 2 days ago the news came out. If you get COVID-19, medical treatment will no longer be free from the 1st of April. And for COVID-19 tests, also no longer free. Do you think, I mean, what do you think what are the implications of the government all of a sudden announcing that, oh, if you fall sick due to COVID-19, the medical treatment won't be free anymore?
You see, I think this is ridiculous. Why for the first 3 years was the policy that the government will pay for your medical treatment? And now all of a sudden, you are on your own. Why? I don't understand the rationale. I mean, Singaporeans have been very obedient. They have been taking the vaccine, all right? Yeah? So, what is the difference now? I'll say this, and I have said it in previous videos with Hui Hui. All over the world now, the world is waking up to what all these big farmers like Pfizer and Moderna and all that have been doing. All the shenanigans, I would put it this way. And this is going to be a big issue going forward. Yeah, I am not joking. You can't cover fire with a blanket all the time, all right? Sooner or later, the blanket is going to be consumed by the fire. Yeah, and I'm telling you, I've been saying this for the last 6 months. You are going to see in the years going ahead massive litigation, all right? By people, outraged people. Even the Japanese now have woken up. I saw a video recently where frankly they are fed up and they are starting to sue everyone concerned. Yeah? Well, we will see what happens in Singapore. So I don't think it is fair. I think the government has a duty to keep paying for people's COVID treatment.
No, I think...
Wait. Lim Tian, are you saying that I'm a very obedient Singaporean? I take my vaccination, first shot, second shot, okay, right? Then I take my booster, right? Then after that, I still get COVID-19 and I have to pay myself.
Well, which is why I say it is a ridiculous change in policy, right? What is the rationale for it?